Hey guys, Zeus here. Welcome to this Season 9 Kassadin guide. Cass currently sits as a god tier mid, having a godly phase once he reaches level 16 when his ult is less than 2 seconds cooldown, decimating and cleaning up enemy champs mid to late game. Here is a cheat sheet if you want to try this out as soon as possible. The rest of this video will go into detail on specifics including runes, items, strategy and combos. Fleet Footwork as the major rune. Cass is one of few champs mid who utilize this rune perfectly. This rune allows you to heal with autos once it reaches 100 stacks, which builds up from attacking and moving. The purpose of this rune is to get Cass through the toughest part of the game, laning phase, but specifically before level 6. Although the main purpose is the healing, the movement speed this offers is a great bonus, allowing him to make up for his immobility early on. Triumph as the first minor rune. As Kassadin, you will have to get close in order to output optimal damage from your R and W, so you will most likely take damage. Getting kills will allow Cass to gain 12% of missing health, keeping him healthy enough to continue riftwalking in teamfights and finish off any low health targets. The extra gold is a nice bonus, helping him further snowball. Presence of Mind is also viable, specifically for the mana refund. However, with this specific build in this guide, it isn't necessary. Legend Tenacity is the only viable rune here. Getting close and deep in fights is part of Kassadin's gameplay, so Legend Tenacity is great for the CC reduction it provides. You get 25% Tenacity once fully stacked, making it harder for enemies to keep you locked down. It will also allow you to purchase Sorc Boots instead of Merc Treads for Tenacity, making sure your gold is spent on damage. Coup de Grace as the final rune. The king of assassin runes, Coup de Grace is perfect for Kassadin's playstyle. This rune is used to clean up low health targets, increasing your damage by 7% on targets with lower than 40% health. It even provides a small amount of AP for 10 seconds after each kill, providing a little more snowballing potential. The other two runes aren't exactly useless, but would be optimal in very few cases, so it's not worth sacrificing it for Coup de Grace. First minor rune from the Domination set is Taste of Blood. As mentioned before, laning phase is Kassadin's weakest phase of the game. This rune gives you the sustain and trade potential to survive this phase. Spamming Q in lane is your consistent way of trading, and this rune utilizes the safe range of Q to heal. Since we are focusing on getting past Kassadin's weak phase of the game, we want to prioritize sustain, therefore Ravenous Hunter is the final rune. Again, with Kassadin's Q he can heal, but this time even off minions. You can use Q on a low health minion, not only to last hit CS, but also for a small heal. This rune has full effect on single target spells, perfect for his Q, and in some cases your W if the enemy gets too close. Handling Kassadin's laning phase is essential if you want to pop off mid to late, so we'll need early items to help us out. In most safe to medium lanes, a Dark Seal and Refillable Potion is the most efficient purchase, providing mana, AP, increased healing from potions, and the potential to gain AP stacks from early takedowns. This is the perfect start for Cass. In tougher lanes, where you'll be constantly poked, 3 potions can be substituted for the refillable pots. If laning phase gets ugly, or perhaps you've taken damage from a gank, you can make an early back and upgrade your refillable potion to corruption potion. Another viable start, specifically against AD champs, is the cloth armor into 4 pots. Whatever the scenario, it's important to focus on surviving, gaining any CS and experience to ensure you reach level 6 without falling behind. The first major buy is Rod of Ages, giving Kassadin the health, mana and AP to trade and look for kills. It's got a great build path. Prioritize Catalyst if under heavy pressure in lane from poke or any sort of damage. The tankiness and sustain that Catalyst provides makes you almost unkillable if you play safe. You can buy Blasting Wand if you feel confident you don't need the tankiness and want to look for kills. The AP from this item also increases your shield size for Q, so you can still win trades with a well-timed Q against AP champs. Sorcerer boots are your second tier boots. I would recommend almost always purchasing them after your rower and tier, since you want to start scaling your rower and tier ASAP. Boots of Speed can be purchased anytime you have the gold. It will be enough for movement until then. Great magic pen, great movement speed, simple and optimal choice here. Just to quickly clarify, you want to finish rower, get the tier, then Sorc Boots. Third major buy is Archangels Staff, which transforms into Seraphs Embrace once you've stacked the tier to 750. It's important you purchase your tier right after your roller, as mentioned before, in order to start stacking its passive. Once Sorc boots are purchased, you can look to complete this item. With Kass's abilities, specifically W for sustaining matter and R to spam when moving from base to lane, you'll be able to stack this pretty quickly. As long as you manage Riftwalk mana, you should have close to no mana issue at this point. The main purpose of this item is to allow Kass to Riftwalk at 800 mana cost in those mid to late team fights. Your snowballing potential at this point is insane. Literally, Riftwalk into 4 to 5 champs and decimate type of insane. And remember, this will also grant a shield, so when you really have to go in deep, pop that shield for that extra absorbing damage. Fourth item is situational, so let's choose what's best for your game. Zhonya's is great if you want to go in deep and your team lacks engage. After you Riftwalk in and output as much damage as possible, hitting Zhonya's will allow your team to back you up and your abilities to come off cooldown. At this point, think about whether you want to Riftwalk onto more enemies to kill, or perhaps back out if the fight is not in your favor. The safety this provides for your Mejai stacks, if you found yourself in a snowball game, is great too. Lich Bane is another option for Kass. Getting on top of enemy champs is necessary to output most of your damage, so applying the damage from the Lich Bane passive will be easy. It gives you an option to split push if you find teamfights aren't in your favor, giving you the damage to decimate towers quickly, making you a backdoor threat. Even if you simply create pressure where 2 to 3 of the enemy champs must come and deal with you, simply Riftwalk away and allow your team to pick up objectives on their own and perhaps win some teamfights with a numbers advantage. Another fourth item option is Rabadon's Deathcap. If you find yourself with plenty of gold from a snowballed game, don't hesitate to buy a Deathcap. The AP from this item will amplify your AP from your Roa and Seraphs. This can be purchased either after Zhonya's or Lich, if you need certain aspects of those items for your specific game. A final item option is Void Staff. As with most AP champs in late game, the enemy will probably have some MR, so Void Staff is the best purchase. There will be times where MR isn't an issue, so I've added Morellonomicon as a potential 6th item. It provides a little more AP than Void Staff, as well as Magic Pen, Grievous Wound passive, and health, all stats Kass will make use of. And of course, since this is a Kass guide, Mejai's Soulstealer is always viable for snowballing games. It can be bought at any time you feel you have the potential to snowball and confident you will pick up takedowns. Although I would recommend you buy it after your roller and tier, since you want to prioritize stacking those items ASAP. Merc Treads are another viable second tier boots. Even though we picked up legendary Tenacity as a rune, the extra Tenacity from these boots and MR can help you against heavy AP or CC stack teams. For Kassadin's skill order, you want to max Q, E, then W. Kassadin's Q is the most important part of his kit early game, specifically in laning phase and before level 6. As mentioned before, using Q on an enemy for poke will heal Kass from the Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter runes. Look to use it anytime it's up and play passive when it's down. It has a shield which can be used to tank magic damage. Look to time it exactly when you predict the enemy will use an ability. If timed correctly, you can absorb most, even all the damage from magic abilities. It doesn't absorb auto attacks and AD abilities. When you can't use it on enemy champs, use it to last hit minions from a safe distance. Taste of Blood can be procced on minions. Kassadin's W is another important ability during laning phase, as it restores mana. You want to use this on minions since most matchups are ranged. By restoring mana, you can go for more Q poke trades. It can proc Taste of Blood on minions, allowing for the extra sustain. W is an auto reset, so keep that in mind when we go over combos later to maximize damage. Kassadin's E is unique since it requires 6 abilities to be used from either you, ally, or enemy champ close by to be activated. This isn't so much a problem when grouped or in teamfights when everyone is spamming abilities, but it will take longer to activate in lane. It's an AoE damage and slow ability. Use it to trade, wave clear, and on multiple targets in teamfights. Riftwalk. Kassadin's R is the ability that makes him one of the most feared champs when fed. The ability to blink and deal AoE damage. Learn to manage your R so you can stack your tier. It doubles the mana for every time it's used within 15 seconds, so spam the first few Rs while the mana is low and then wait for the reset when it reaches 4 or 800 mana. You want to use this tactic as a way to stack your tier without costing too much mana. When you reach level 16, the CDR for R is less than 2 seconds, giving you damage and mobility to clean up fights. I wouldn't be surprised if most players got their first Penta with Kassadin. As for summoners, Flash is the best summoner spell by far. It allows for safety to farm early on, a chance to flash R combo for targets further away, and generally just the best spell in the game. There are two options for the second summoner. Option 1 is Ignite, the riskiest spell. Gives you kill potential, helping you snowball games and making you a slightly bigger threat in lane. Option 2, Teleport, is a safer option. If you're in a hard matchup and predict enemy jungle pressure, TP would be the best option. This gives you a safer laning phase, helping you back early and obtain any items you need to survive laning phase without missing CS, ensuring you get to level 6 without falling behind. There are plenty of different combos for Cass, which are not mechanically difficult, but require the best judgment and decision making in the moment. Gap closing, no gap closing, in brush, engaging to 5-man to kill 1, finishing off low health targets, are all things you need to consider for an optimal combo. Here's what you should keep in mind. Q has slightly longer range than E, so use E first, then follow with Q. E works with a charge system, another reason to use it first. Sometimes you will need your spell shield from Q early in a fight, and the range isn't an issue, so Q first is best. W is an auto reset, so auto attack W for an efficient melee trade. Remembering these basics will help you decide what's best for your situation. Here are the most common examples. For an optimal max damage combo, R on top of the enemy, E, auto, W, then Q. This does the most damage with one full rotation of your abilities. You want to E to slow them, giving you the time to auto them, and then auto cancel with W. W gives an extra 50 range, so they won't be out of range right after your auto. And then Q for your longest ranged ability. You can also Q first if you need the spell shield first, but if the enemy is running away, they might be able to get out of your R range. Post level 6 out of range enemy. R, E, auto, W, Q. You want to use Q at any point you are in range and predict incoming magic damage you want to absorb. For a huge gap closing combo, stack your R to either 400 or 800 mana, flash, and then continue with the same combo as mentioned before. You must press flash right after R to ensure your R damage goes off. This is an amazing gap close for enemies further away and will one-shot late game when you have an 800 mana stacked R. This can also be used for a surprise engage into a full enemy team, followed by Zhonyas if necessary. For a trade in lane, pre-level 6, E, Q, auto, W. The E has a huge hitbox as long as they are in range and will slow them. Move up for an auto W and finish off with a Q. Remember, if they're always in range and that you don't risk them getting out of your E range, you can always Q first if you want to predict that magic damage and absorb that damage. Remember, master the laning phase and the rewards will come mid to late. Practice timing your Q for trades and absorbing damage. Once you get good feel for Kassadin, you'll know when you have enough damage to Riftwalk into the enemy team. Don't be afraid to test your limits for the first few times. He is much more of a decision making and game knowledge champ than a mechanical one. Don't get caught up in trying to remember combos when every situation is different, so aim to adapt your damage and your decisions for each specific situation. Reason I chose this specific guide and build is because it teaches you to play safe and respect your enemy early on with rewards around the corner. Kassadin is one of few champs to utilize the Fleet Footwork rune, so it has a unique feeling to it. With a few games under your belt, this champ really allows you to solo carry most games, something that's becoming very rare in League. That completes this guide. If you have any questions or feedback, comment below, and remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. See you on the next video.